name's Taylor Baez. I'm the Communications and Community Engagement Manager here at the YWCA South Florida. Welcome. Thank you all for joining us. Today we are also joined by a true Miami legend and community hero, someone who has devoted his life's work to lift up the Black youth of Miami and guide them to and through a life in the arts. Marshall L. Davis Sr., the Managing Director of Liberty City's crown jewel, and recently renamed in his honor, the Marshall L. Davis Sr. African Heritage Cultural Arts Center. When we talk about celebrating Black history, I think this is exactly what we're talking about, and not just Black history, but Black legacy as well. I am so honored to have you here, Mr. Davis. Thank you so much for joining us, and welcome.
Appreciate you for having me. Thank you.
Okay. I say we just get into it. My first question is going to be, the Cultural Center sits in the historic Liberty City. Did you grow up in Liberty City? If you did or didn't, what does Liberty City mean to you?
I did grow up in Liberty City. Yeah, I still remember my old address. I was a child of what they call the government section, called the project. I remember my address, 2371 Northwest 73rd Terrace.
Wow.
That's where I was for so many years. And at that time, I wish there would have been a cultural arts center like this one for me to come to. I just had to walk across the tracks and I'd be right here. But Liberty City is a wonderful place. It was a wonderful neighborhood, wonderful people, people that cared about each other, that looked out for each other, that kept each other engaged in a positive manner, and particularly looked out for each other.
And I'm sending you.
Sorry, I think somebody wasn't muted, but continue.
All right. But yeah, Liberty City is a wonderful place, and I'm very happy and proud to have had the opportunities for these many years to come back into this environment and try to create a difference, how to try to help transform lives with the program that we offer at the African Heritage Cultural Arts Center for young people and to engage people in cultural experiences.
Wow. I think you've definitely done that. Especially because the Cultural Center is 50 years old, which is crazy. Can you tell me what you remember about the early days of the center and how your story with the center started? How did you get involved?
So I came to know of the center as a very unique experience. You may be familiar with former U.S. Congresswoman Carrie Meek. So at that time,
Yeah.
she was working with a program called the Model City Program that was started then by President Lyndon Baines Johnson. It's an effort to improve the inner city communities. And so I was walking, just getting some ice cream, had just came home from college, and I saw Carrie at this building on 54th Street, and I happened to see her in there, and I walked in. I said, Carrie, Marsha, how you been? Where you been? I told her where I was, and I saw this model of what they was going to make changes in Liberty City. And one of the things I noticed very quickly was they was building a model city cultural arts center. I said, wow, I surely would like to work there. She said, well, you'll have an opportunity. So that was my first initiation into the Model City Cultural Arts Center as a young person. I heard about it several occasions when they finally got it completed. I remember a young woman by the name of Barbara Young, because I was a visual artist somewhat, and she asked me to put some of my artworks. I think I was in one of the first exhibits that was here at the Cultural Arts Center. And got engaged with another person by the name of Wendell Nazis, who had a group called the Theater Afro Arts. Wonderful program that was engaging young Blacks into different cultural experiences in theater and visual arts and doing little tours with them. So Wendell was here as well. And there was a couple of directors before me. First one was Joan Timmons, and I think Jones was here for about 3 years. Then another young man came by the name of Dorian Cooper. He was about 3 years. They had an interim director, and I came in 1983, if you can remember that far back. It was shortly after the McDuffie riot. So it was a unique experience coming here, accepting the challenges that was before me and seeing how we can make Liberty City what was most noted for in terms of dignity, sophistication, and real cultural experiences.
Wow. That's an incredible story, and I'm sure that was such a hard time to join after the McDuffie riots. That kind of leads me into my next question. We're going through so much right now in this country. The historical shifts of the last 50 years are many. I'm sure you know.
Yes.
How has the Cultural Center responded and adapted to difficult times?
Well, when you're in a creative environment, you have to think creatively. You can't accept things as they are. You have to see how we can make things as they need to be. And that's one of the things that, I came into the Cultural Arts Center trying to see, not just having a cultural arts center, not just a place for people to come and experience art, but how can you transform lives through the arts? And so I was a former educator. I worked in the Miami-Dade County programs for a while. Then I went to FIU and was there in the administrative area. And I found out this job was here, so I ran to it. And I thought that, what can we do to make a difference in this community? Well, we can always have programs that did projects, but projects okay keep you busy, but they don't transform lives. So, being a former educator, I thought we should have somewhat of a preparatory program. So people say, how do you get it started? With intention. So it was my intention to have a program that would be considered a multi-art program that would engage people in all the forms of the arts. So whatever the particular interest, whatever the particular innate talent was, we can engage it. We created a program for children. Those programs started for children 5 through 16, where they can take classes in all the arts, get all the experiences, and then make a decision about which way they're going to go in the arts. So when you look at working with children, you have to understand that children is almost like what they call the theta brain state, very creative, dreamlike state that they believe anything is possible. They're very imaginative. And if you can catch them at that stage and get them engaged in arts, you can do a lot of things and help them to transform their lives. And I think that's where we have been most successful, starting kids off. Sometimes they came at 5 or 10, and many of the students would stay for 5 or 10 years. So you spend 5 or 10 years in anything, you consider pretty much an expert in that area. So we have a lot of kids that came through this program that are multi-talented. They can play an instrument, they can draw, they can dance, they can sing, they can act, they can do whatever they want. So it's been a wonderful experience intentionally coming up with a program that could be considered a preparatory program for the arts for people that was economically disadvantaged, that needed the support that would engage them to help them go further.
Wow. I've noticed that I babysat for a like a 4-year-old the other day, and I kind of was like, wow, this kid is so creative. We made up a ton of different games. Like we're like racing cars up the wall. He's like, my car's Spider-Man. It can stick to anything. It's so crazy how if you nurture creativity when you're young, I think it really does stay with you.
Yeah,
I
sometimes kids look for perimeters, so they can have fun, but without any perimeters, they're not going to have fun. It's going to be like chaos. So, and that's what we did. We set some guidelines, some perimeters. This is how you can grow. This is how you can develop. So for a lot of them, dance and drama and music and playing an instrument, it was fun. And so they grow up thinking this is play. So when it got time for them to go professional, oh, I do this all the time. I'm ready for you. Let's go.
Yeah, it's an easy jump.
Yeah.
That's a really, I think a little structure I think can really help them. Wow,
Yeah.
that's an interesting point.
Yeah.
Um, the center does, as you said, drama, music. You have a summer arts conservatory, visual arts programs, dance. Um, what is your hope for all of this expansion for the center?
So, one of the things I'd like to see the center do is, if we ever get a chance to build another building, that's something different. But one of the things I'd like to see is maintain the program and expand on it. So we're still expanding our program. Right now, we're increasing our cinematic arts program. So now we're developing a program where kids can come and learn how to do films and documentaries and animation and all those kinds of things. So we need to continue to grow and see how, through positive investment through the county and through corporations, we can improve the lives of our young people. We have a benefactor who's been very gracious to us. And for the last 2 years, he's been giving funds to actually purchase instruments for students that can take home. So the way that worked, the kids come to us for the summer. They learn how to play an instrument. For those that seem to have a great interest and develop the skills, we identify them, and we identify 15 of those kids. And this benefactor give kids an instrument that they will have for life. And he's also doing a documentary on the center as well. So
Wow.
it's one of the key expansions. finding ways again to help improve people's lives, to get them the things that they need, that they can grow and develop and become the individuals that they want to be. We've been somewhat successful in that process because we got some students who go to New World School of Arts, go to Rainbow Park, go to Miami Northwestern Payback Program, go to Michael Crop, go to Norland, and just have been able to actualize themselves in some form of fashion and arts. But then we have others who has become the mayor, who's become lawyers, who's become doctors, but always speak highly of the experience here and having that creative period in their life that they could engage in.
I can see that. I went to see Professor Dunn speak at your center recently, and I feel like you can just tell that when you step on the campus, it's just there's so much creative energy there. The art exhibit that I saw um, was really truly beautiful, and I really enjoyed seeing so many young people, which younger, I'm not super young, but they're younger, way younger than me. Just really sitting there and absorbing everything. So I think everything you're doing is really hitting the mark, which obviously I'm just so impressed by everything that you guys do.
Yeah,
Um,
to me, I've had a dream to make some things happen, but I couldn't do it by myself. So we've had some wonderful, wonderful instructors that have been here and helping out in this process. Milton Mustafa was one of those people who was the former Count Basie jazz drummer, not drummer, but trumpet player. So him, people like him, I can name just a plethora of people, and I don't want to start naming them because I'm gonna miss somebody. So you didn't call my name. But,
Fair.
but they have really made this program what it could be. I'm just here just to keep guiding the ship towards the North Star, and it's just been a wonderful experience working with young people. And some of these young people actually come back as our teachers. So we have some people here now, like Akila Shepherd, who's going to be in a program that we're sponsoring this week. That maybe we'll get a chance to talk about it as we continue to chat. But we have people that have actually come through this program, been able to go to college. Some people have actually gotten a scholarship to go to college, and they come
Wow.
back and they then give back to the community.
I mean, I'd love to hear more about Akila Shepherd. I think we have the time. Would you tell me more about them?
Yeah, Akila Shepherd is just one example of the young people that came here. Akila came, we start off at age 5, but I think her mother snuck in when she was about 4. She's very intelligent. And Keela went through all kind of, we have what we call an apprenticeship program. Our apprenticeship program allows students who are at a performance ready level to audition and participate in one of our programs, companies rather, that we're going to take out to the community. We may travel here, there, and get them in front of people so they can see their talent. So Keela was one of those that started off as a dancer. Then she went into the chorus program. And then she went to the instrumental program. And I think that's where she really found her best feeling. She one time was the national champion, school champion as a jazz saxophone player, along with Travis Quinn. And then she came back. She's into the medical field as well, but she come back here on a part-time basis, giving the kids what she got and giving it to them in a very stellar way.
That's so beautiful. I love that they come back and then they're nurturing people that, basically were them a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
That's a
we have
beautiful.
some students, former students now that are actually our competitors, like Shannon Haynes, Tracy Young, and others who have been here. Tracy was one of our students, but she was certainly one of our former teachers. And now they have their own businesses. Miss Sidell, who was voted Teacher of the Year and former African American Achievers. I think we gave her first job out of college, and now she's doing extremely well. So we're proud of all of them and what they accomplished.
Amazing. So no favorites. We won't name
No,
any names. Um, Speaking of all the teachers, when we were first thinking of what to call this speaker series, my boss Sarah Coleman said she was thinking of the work that you and all the other teaching artists are doing at the center, and she immediately thought of "Young, Gifted, and Black" by Nina Simone. You mentioned in an interview that you don't discriminate against other students, but that the center is meant as a safe space for Black youth. What is the center's impact on the Black youth of today?
so the centers continue to have a tremendous impact, of providing a safe, creative environment for them to learn and to grow and to showcase their talents. and to engage the community in very positive ways. Just like you said, you saw Dr. Dunn, he came here and talked about social issues and those kind of things. It's very important that they have that kind of understanding to know how they should be civically engaged in trying to improve things as opposed to just complaining. You know, I hate complaining. I think if there's a problem that you can describe, you should be able also to describe the solution. And I think that has been my role, and that's how I try to teach the kids here. If we have a problem, what's the solution? How do we resolve that problem? We have a problem in the Black community with people not being educated, not having positive experiences, not having a place to go, not having the means to express themselves. The solution, one of the solutions is the African Heritage Cultural Arts Center. You have a place now to go, to be safe, to come in and just develop your talent. To give you an example, Terrell McCraney was one of those students who was in the community, stayed in an area that they call the Poking Beans. And he used to run because he was challenged by some of the people in his community. And he came here. So a lot of times you saw the film Moonlight, you saw that he was running to abandoned building. That was for the sake of the movie. But the reality was Terrell McCraney was running to the African Heritage Cultural Arts Center. And this was here where he got his first engagement in the arts. He learned how to dance here. He learned how to act here. He learned about writing and chorus and all the wonderful things that are going on here. And he compacted those experiences, those art experiences and learning that he got here. Terrell McCraney from the Poking Beans in Liberty City won an Academy Award as a screenwriter. It's amazing that what you can do with people when you engage them in positive experiences and don't downplay them, don't debase them, just tell them how good the possibilities are if they are fully engaged, if they're interested, and if they take the incremental steps day by day that learning provides that you can grow and develop.
100%. And that's an amazing testament to what you do, that you went on to win an Academy Award. I mean, that is the top of what you go for in the arts.
Yeah. And
Um,
I'm still engaged in the program. You know, I brought my own kids here. I have
oh,
a,
really?
yeah, yeah. They came here from the time they was, I was here. And one of them is a stand-up comedian, Marcellus Cello Davis. You can find anybody I'm naming on Facebook. Uh, he's going to be in the production we're going to be doing this Thursday called at the Live at the Sir John. I have another son, Dr. Myron James Davis, who was a student here. But at 10 years old, he was in one of the largest shows that in Europe called Living Large. I have another son, Marshall Davis Jr., who was in the Broadway show, Bringing the Noise, Bringing the Funk. He's in a movie called Happy Feet 2 with Savion Glover. He's been all over the world, Japan, Russia, what have you, because he learned how to tap dance. I have a daughter who's have her own business called Beautiful Works. She was one of our first students who won a contest in a dance program. So I was very much invested. I knew what this program could do. It did it for my own kids. My son Marsh was one of the first students who went to a national scale stage. He was on a show called Star Search, which was like the American Idol at this time, and he did tap dancing. So all these people you can look up, you can see whoever I'm naming. You'll find them on YouTube. Bianca Bruton, who danced with Janis Jackson and Beyonce. Nadira Minaj, who danced with Beyonce as well. Dominique Variety. Keon Washington, who was in the recent movie Color Purple. They actually auditioned for the movie and they discovered each other being there and didn't know they was all auditioning. Oh, Cultural Arts Center. And a lot of kids,
Oh,
they just say, oh, you're from the center. But they mean the African Heritage Cultural Arts Center.
wow. What a powerhouse. I think that's crazy. I can't imagine you walk into a big audition and you see somebody from the center.
I'm
That's
telling you,
insane.
we have a wonderful staff, people like Isis Roberts, who've been here for a number of years. Even my secretary, Gloria Wilkins, she's been here for a number of years. We got new people like Carmen Morris, who's coming in and just giving us a lot of excitement and sizz to our program. So just a number of people have really made this place work and has made a difference in so many people's lives.
Wow. No, I think it's apparent to have, I mean, to have such a not a small center, but have something so kind of compact, have just like this reach all around the world. I think, I mean, all of you guys are such a team, and that's really amazing. I know you mentioned your son is a stand-up comedian. He's performing at your event on Thursday. I think it's called A Night at Sir John's Night Beat.
Right, right.
Um, can you tell me a little more about this event and its meaning during Black History Month, especially in Miami?
So Sir John was a very sophisticated place. I wasn't able to go because I was kind of young, but I happened to peep in the door one day and I saw the people and they had on their mink and their sequins and their tuxedos and it was dressed, hair comb pressed, really looking good. And you could tell the music, the entertainment was of a high caliber. They had some of the most famous black celebrities coming to the Sir John because at that time blacks can go on the beach and perform, but they couldn't live, they couldn't stay. And so they were also, while they was here, they had what they call this chitlin circuit. And the Sir John and the Hampton House and places like that was part of this circuit that black entertainers would come into their own black communities and give performances that they and live here at some of the places where they could not be on the beach. So that's going to be a way to show uh, that history, that social, that integrity, that sophistication that black folks had, and how they engaged themselves and entertained themselves and supported each other and actually help others to move up socially, politically, or even as a celebrity.
Wow. Do you happen to know what time it's at and is it open to everybody?
It's
Oh, I
open.
see.
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead.
I see Carmen put it in. She's way ahead of me. She put it in the chat. So if anybody wants to attend that event, um, it's in the Eventbrite link is in the chat.
It's
Do
going to be a
you,
wonderful event. It's featuring some of our resident artists. So part of our program, in addition to the educational program we have for everyone, adults and children, in addition to the apprenticeship arts program, we have what we call a resident artist program. And so one of our residents, Daniel Washington, along with Akila Shepherd, who I mentioned, and along with some others, students, Robert Hall and others that's going to be here as a part of that program, they're going to be here to entertain you and give you a little journey back into what life was back in the early times, I'll say, and show you how blacks lived a very sophisticated but a very fun-filled environment.
that sounds amazing. Oh, I want to go.
Yes, you should come.
I think I might. I think I'm going to. I
Yeah,
think
you
it
enjoy
sounds really
yourself.
fun. I love stand-up comedy. Honestly, that's one of my favorite things to go see. I always go to Villain Theater up in Little Haiti. So I'd love to see your son and also all the other artists that you have.
Yeah.
I think that's it for all my questions. Do you have any questions for me, or does anybody? I'm going to open it up to everybody here. Does anybody have questions for Mr. Davis? Feel free to turn your camera on and say them, or just put them in the chat and I can read them out loud.
So one thing could say that for those that have young people, we have a plethora of programs that would benefit them. We have an after-school program. We have a program during the winter break called the Winter Kumba Arts Academy, where we bring the kids in at 7:30 in the morning for parents to drop them off and get to work, and they
Okay.
take 6 classes a day, and they can be a part of that program. We have a Saturday program. We have a spring program, and we also have a very in, fun-filled program during the summer called the Summer Art Conservatory. And that program has really helped a lot of young people to achieve all kind of skills and all kind of career opportunities. I think
It
I heard
seems like
somebody.
you have a yes. I think Carmen Morris has her hand up.
Yes, yes, yes. I just would ask Mr. Davis, what is it that prompted him to be able to just pour into so many lives? He talked about Terrell McCraney. He talked about Robert, I think you mentioned Robert Battle, who was the artistic director for Alvin Ailey. And all of these young people, including our former police chief, Daniels, um, and Chief Copeland and Matthew Pyatt, all of these young people who they some of them could not afford to pay to come to the center, and you never turned them away, Mr. Davis. So what is it that really um, gave you the impetus to be able to pour into so many thousands of lives at the center in your 40 years that you've been there. The center is 50 years old. What is it that prompted you to be able to bring this gift of artistic modeling, what some folks call a model for the nation, into our community?
Well, thank you for mentioning Robert Battle, who was the former artistic director of Alvin. He's a wonderful person. He was a part of a show that we just recently did here called We All, and it was an incredible show. So what happened for me, Carmen, was as a young person, I was very talented in visual arts. Give me a pencil, a sheet of paper, you put something in front of me, I can draw it. But the foundation I had in art was not sufficient. And when I went to college, I was the first black of my, not first black, but the first generation from my family to actually go to college. And when I got there, I found out I was ill prepared for that experience. Even with all the talent I had, there were certain things that I needed to know, I should have known at that level that I was not abreast of. So I could not continue, and I thought in myself as a visual artist because I was just not ready for it. It was costly. I didn't have those kind of resources. So I went to my second love, which was theater. But when I came here to the Cultural Arts Center, I never wanted a child to have that experience that I had, to have talent, to have possibilities, and not have the foundation to realize those possibilities and actualize them. So that was the real impetus for me in terms of the educational program here at the African Heritage Cultural Arts Center, to make sure any child came to this program would not walk out the door on any day and say, I don't know anything more than I did when I walked into the building. I always wanted to be monthly, weekly, daily, that you will learn, you engage, you will improve in some form or fashion of art, so that if you wanted to make that a career, you can do that. If you just wanted to be a creative person, you can have those experiences and those skills as well.
Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Thank you, Carmen, for asking a question.
You're welcome.
Yes, that was a beautiful question and a beautiful answer. I can see how your mentality of not complaining comes from. You had a problem and you made sure you fixed it, and you fixed it for everybody after you too.
Yeah.
Anyone else have a question? Speak now. Oh, yeah, I think that's it. I did have a question, I guess, just a personal question. What's your favorite memory from the center, or one of your favorite memories?
One of my unique experiences at the center with all the wonderful things that are happening is I got a letter, two letters one summer. Uh, One was from Terrell McCraney, who I told you about, who won the Academy Award. The other letter came from another guy by the name of Tyrell. So both of those kids came to the center. Terrell McCraney did not have all the parental support that he needed to come, and he didn't have the funds to come, but he came anyway. Uh, Tyrell had his mother's support in some ways, didn't have all the financial things that he needed. So both of them came, and one summer, after some years, Tyrell mother had taken him out because he got in some trouble, and she said, I'm gonna punish you. You're not gonna go to the cultural arts center. I know you like it, so you're gonna stop going until you get your grades right and those kind of things. She took him out. That never happened with Terrell McCraney. He kept coming. So some years later, I got these two letters one summer. The letter from Terrell McCraney said, Mr. Davis, I want to thank you. I just got accepted to Yale's in the theater program. And I know if I hadn't come to your facility, I would not have had the skills and chops to make this a reality for me. I felt very proud of that. So Tyrell, the one we call Red, he wrote a letter, but his letter had a lot of papers in it. And I've looked at the papers. It was wonderful drawings that he had done. So he said, Mr. Davis, I know you're probably not going to be proud of me, but right now I'm incarcerated and I'm in jail. And I know you might be disappointed, but one of the things that keeping me sane while I'm in prison is what you taught me in terms of drawing and those kind of things. And this has given me some sanity. So those were the two letters for the summer that shows, how we have to keep kids engaged, keep them involved, whether they have the best experience, and how to have to do a better job of parenting to realize our kids' possibilities when we have them in programs that can have a tremendous effect on their lives.
Wow. Wow. The contrast between the two letters. Wow. It's That's incredible. I mean, it's again just a testament to what you've done. I was a little nervous today when I realized I had to interview because when I met you, I was telling Sarah, I was like, I just feel like he's almost regal. Like you've done so much, and of course your team too. But I think, I think you are the epitome of what it means to give back to your community.
Yes.
So I just want to say, I don't think anybody has any more questions, but I just want to say thank you so much for joining us today, Mr. Davis. I am so grateful for your time and everything you've done throughout your long career at the center. I know the African Heritage Cultural Arts Center is a beacon for the arts in Miami, and I hope everybody here will go to the Thursday event and visit, and also, even besides that, go visit the center for its performance and for its wonderful art exhibits, because I went and it was really, really beautiful, and I think everybody should do it.
Thanks for giving me the opportunity. I really appreciate having the ability to tell my stories too on your platform. Thank you again. Appreciate you.
Thank you so much. And you have a lot of thank yous in the chat. I don't know if you can see it, but everybody here is again just as inspired by you as I am.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
My name's Taylor.